packet that's in the orange book and that you all will have, the very first page that's on there is the summary page. This shows all of the earned units that we get from the state. This one is the total for the whole county. It lists teachers, principals, assistant principals, counselors, librarians, career tech, all of the above, and our total earned units that we earn from the state. And it shows it's the 634.9. It also shows the amount of salaries, fringes, instructional supply funds, and those kind of things, that the part of the foundation fund that the State Department sends us based on our units. Our ADM increased this year by approximately 143.35 students. So that increased our total units by 9.78. So that's a good thing. Going up is always the positive direction. So that's better than that one. At the bottom of the very first page, it's the total. You'll notice, like I said, the top shows, am I having issues?
You're unhooked, so just ignore me.
I'm sorry.
I'm gonna hide.
The top shows what we have actually earned from the state. This bottom box at the very bottom shows all of our units and how they're funded. Like the very first column, the state earned, is all of our teachers, librarians, counselors, administrators, everybody, the 634.9 that we actually earned from the state. The next three columns are the other state, which includes units that we get from OSR pre-K, nurses, technology, other state at-risk funding, the other state units that are in there. That's what's in the other state column. Then, of course, we have the federal column, which is our Title I, Title II, ESSER, Title III. All of those are in that column. And then the local is the last unit, so the last box. So if you look at this whole box, this shows all of our employees, whether they're teachers, admin, counselors, librarians, support, certified support, whatever, and how they're funded based on the columns. So this is the overall district. The one right behind it is just a detailed budget of everything that goes with it, that goes around for the entire system. And then that's about 6 pages long, I believe. And then after that is an individual page, just like the total one I showed you, but this individual page is for each school. You'll notice at the very top of each one, it lists the school name, and it also gives the same information. Their ADM, their units earned, their money that the state is sending from the foundation program, and then the bottom box shows the same thing. All their units they're placed, whether they're state earned, other state funds, federal or local. And all of these, like I said, all of them are in there. So if y'all have any questions about where any of the teachers are or how they're funded or what any of that means, give me a call and we can go over any of that you have. I just want to tell you what was in there because everything we're doing through here kind of is based on what's in that. Okay, this is our first public hearing. As you know, based on the Legislature Act 97-624, we're required to have 2 public hearings of the budget, just to explain it. I will present this today and over the next month before our next board meeting. If anybody has any questions or things I need to look at or changes you want made, I can make those changes. And at the next board meeting, I will have those changes in there and we'll explain any changes we've made since this time. It also has to have opportunity for anybody to give written questions or comments or anything else. The very back of your packet has a sheet that you can put any of those questions or comments on. There's also some back on the back table for any of the public that wants to look at that to make comments or anything or any questions they have. And then we have to give revenue and expenditure information and all that, and that's what I'm going to go over here, and it's in the PowerPoint that you have in your packet. Okay? Our main ongoing construction projects, I know we've got a lot of little ones going on besides this, but these are the main ones that we're doing, and these are the ones that we're paying out of the bond funds. And I meant to get the balance of bond funds after this, and I didn't have it with this, but I'll have it in here. I'll email y'all what that balance is after all these. But these are the main projects we have ongoing right now, the big ones that are being paid from the local bond funds. And as you know, when you look at, I don't know what I'm doing, Ty, I keep kicking off. But when you look at the B1 exhibit that's in your packet, each of the major fund groups, they're all throughout there. The first one is the general fund. The general fund is what we operate out of. The general fund is essentially where our taxes are, anything local that we have, our state funds, that's all their general operating funds. The second column, the special revenue, that's funds that are restricted for some purpose. They're either federal, usually federal and child nutrition, and then local schools accounts are in that column as well. The third column is debt service. That's where we make our debt service payments. Fourth one is capital projects. That's where our bond proceeds have sat until we get ready to make capital payments. And then the last one is our fiduciary trust fund, which includes our trust accounts that we have, as well as the local schools, non-public activities. Total general fund revenues budgeted in that first column is $100 million, $100,500,000. And you can see here we have it broken down between state, local, and other. For the most, as you can always tell, 71% of our general fund money comes from the state, and then about 29% local, and then less than 1% of other funds. Our major local revenue is broken down into property tax, sales tax, and other tax. Property tax, we have budgeted at approximately 9.6. Sales tax is at 18.6, and that does include the SSUT that we're now receiving is in that sales tax number as well. And then other taxes, which includes privilege license and any TVA in lieu and those kind of things that we may get, for a total local taxes of $28 million. This shows what we talked about, the total foundation funds that we receive. This matches the number that's on that first page that I showed you with all the detail of the units. Just gives the money we get from the foundation program, the nurses program, technology, career tech, at-risk, transportation, fleet renewal, and capital purchase. And as you can see on there, we're getting a lot in it, but the school nurses program, the funds that we get for our nurses, that only funds about 40% of our nurses. So they're sending us, and they send a little bit for the raises, but it's still nowhere near enough to cover all of it. Technology is the same way. It only covers about 40% of the technology coordinator salary. Fleet renewal, I think our fleet renewal funds, the amount you get per bus every year in fleet renewal is, this year they based it at $7,581 a year. Well, they expect you to have a bus 10 years, which means you can buy a bus for $75,000. Even the regular buses were $109 and $110, and these special needs are more than that. So there's no way you can buy for what they're funding it, so they're only funding it at less than 75% as well. So anything extra out of that has to come from local. And as far as the fleet renewal, since we're buying the 49, we've got in the budget on the agenda for tonight is to approve the financing for the 49 buses. In this budget, I estimated what our principal and interest payments were going to be based on that financing, so they are included in this budget as well. And so that's all going to be paid out of fleet renewal. There is enough in the fleet renewal from prior years to cover it, so there won't have to be any local come to pay any of those debt payments. It all will come from fleet renewal, but it is depleting it. So it'll get to the point, in a few years, if we have to do it again, if it hadn't built back up, we may have to really consider something else. And again, it's because they're giving less than 75% of the cost of a bus. General fund expenditures by type, total budgeted expenditures is $95.7 million. Of that, you can see 63% salaries, 22% benefits, and then the other 15% is purchase services and materials and supplies. Our half sales tax fund that we get, it is all split. We send it 60% for instruction and technology. Local schools are 20% and facilities are 20%. The total we budgeted this time for that was about $5.7 million. So that means facilities and local schools got a little over $1 million. I think it was about 1.1, and instruction and technology got the remainder. And those are used for textbooks and software subscriptions and additional Chromebooks and software licenses and any of that kind of stuff. The local schools, we distribute it to the schools based on their ADM. So it all goes out to them based on their enrollment. That was all the general fund. This is total budget expenditures by type. As you can tell here, this is their overall total budget. And as I said again, still salaries and benefits are 65%. They're the biggest part. Federal funds, this just shows the amount of federal funds we received this year. Title 1, 2, 3, 4, Special Ed, and Perkins are all annual allocations that we get. So that's our allocation for this year. And those are all really close to the same amounts as last year. ESSER 3 and ESSER 3 reserve is the amounts that we have budgeted that we'll have remaining of those funds. 24 will be the last year for those, so we'll have to spend the remainder of that in these years, but that's the only one that's left, and that's the amounts left out of those. This one just shows our personnel. This is a summary of the same thing that was on that page 1 that I showed you. This is just the overall summary for each one of them on the PowerPoint to show that we have a total of 667.5 teachers, 23.5 librarians, 22 counselors, 52 admin, and then the remainder are support, for a total of 1,196.5 employees. And I don't ask how we have a half an employee when we have some part-time that are working in some of these positions. We code them as a half of a point since they're part-time instead of full-time, so that it shows they're not full-time. We don't have a half person here. Yeah. And then the budget summary page. This is just an overall summary of revenue, expenses, other fund sources, and ending fund balance that we're budgeting for each fund type that we talked about: general fund, special revenue, debt service, capital project, and expendable trust. And these numbers came from the B1 exhibit that you have in your folder. Are there any other details that you want? And if I can't give you numbers right off the top of my head now, I can get them together and email them to you. Any specifics, anything else you want to know that's in here? I did talk to maintenance about vehicles. I didn't know if they needed more because I know we bought them, and they said they thought they were pretty good on those. The only thing they might possibly need this year was maybe a ton truck, but he said they didn't use it often. So at this point, I did not put anything in there for vehicles. So if I need to, I can go back and add that.
Okay.
Based on this budget, as you can see, we have budgeted revenues to exceed expenditures by 1.6 million in the general fund for this year, which would put us at ending the year with 28.6 million, which is right at the 3-month operating reserve. Any questions?
Good job.
Well, if y'all have any questions, please don't hesitate to call me or email, and I will get you an answer. If I don't have it right then, I will get you an answer and get it to you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Good job.
All right, item number 2.
I recommend the approval of the July and the August 1st board minutes.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Gene. Second?
Second.
Second by Wayne. Any discussion? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no.
Chairman, let the record show that I abstained from number 7, please.
All right. All right, motion passed. Items 3 through 10.
I recommend the approval of personnel items listed in items 3 through 10.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion made by Shane. Second? Second by Kerry. Any discussion? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion passes. This time, ain't nobody here though.
I don't think we have anybody here that accepted a new position or anything since last month. I don't think so. Thank you.
All right, items 11 through 19.
I recommend the approval of school requests listed in items 11 through 19.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Shane.
Second.
Second by Wayne. Any discussion? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion passes. Item number 20.
I recommend the approval of the out-of-state field trip for Holly Pond High School listed in number 20.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? So moved. Motion made by Heath. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second by Wayne. Any discussion? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion passed. Items 21 and 22.
I recommend the approval of the financial items 21 and 22.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Motion made by Mike. Second? Second by Kerry. Any discussion? All in favor, yes.
Yes.
Any opposed, no. Motion passes. Items 23 through 25.
I recommend the approval of the maintenance department items listed in 23 through 25.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Gene.
Second.
Second by Mike. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Any opposed, no? Motion passes. Item number 26.
I recommend the approval of the athletic and academic supplements listed in item number 26.
You heard Dr. Barnett's recommendation. Do I have a motion? Motion made by Kerry. Second by Heath. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
Any opposed, no? Motion passed. Item number 27, superintendent's report.
And really, all I have to report since our August 1st meeting is just outside of the weather. I think that was the first for us to let out early the very first day of school. But after we got past the bad weather, we've had a really smooth start, and it's been I think it's been a really good start at every school.
Okay. Before we adjourn, I'd like to announce our next regular board meeting will be Thursday, September the 14th. Our work session at 3:30, and the meeting immediately following after our work session. And our capital plan meeting has been changed from the 23rd to the 28th at 2 o'clock in the boardroom.
Dr. Barnett, I'd like to thank you and your staff, the maintenance department, for working hard all summer to get our schools ready. I know that we've been to several of them, and they look good. I appreciate all.
They've done a good job. You know, and we'll continue. A lot of people don't see all the behind-the-scenes stuff. I know we have one of our maintenance staff here tonight, but we have a relatively very small maintenance staff for the size district that we have, and they do a good job. I appreciate you acknowledging them.
Can you send one to Holly Pond, pick me up, bring me up?
That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
That'd be good.
All right, item number 28 is adjournment. Motion made by Heath,
Second.
second by Wayne. Any discussion? All in favor, yes?
Yes.
All right, this meeting is adjourned.
Thank you, guys. Appreciate y'all.